All right, and we're live, and I am here with my former sidekick, Undertow.
You know who it is. At it again at the Krispy Kreme.
Davis Arini's joining us.
Sorry, I'm just drinking a big cup of soy right now to be more masculine like H-Bomber guy. I'll be right back.
Woo! And Anti-Dem's with us, too.
Hey, happy to be here with all you Kangs.
All right, yeah. This is the Virgin Black Panther versus the Chad Blade. But I don't really want to be talking about Black Panther because I didn't bother to see it. Go ahead.
I actually went to go see it today. Went to the theater, but it was sold out all night. Didn't get the chance to get in.
Honestly, yeah, I like Marvel comics. I like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's probably a decent movie. But when the whole fucking world tells me I have to go see something, I'm a lot less inclined to see it. The whole
you
retard
don't
circus
have to go see it.
it.
You just have to like it.
Yeah, the whole retard circus surrounding it has turned me off to it. Maybe I'll check it out on DVD, but I'm not going to the theater for that.
The thing is,
who's going to see it?
Okay, I want to go see it because from what I know of it, in a way, it's actually really, really alt-right in that it's nationalistic and protectionist, and Wakanda has a wall around it. The thing is, like, white people aren't allowed to have these things. Like, if you're Jewish or if you're black, then yeah, you can have all this good stuff, but just white people aren't allowed to have them. So it's everything that we want. It's just not for us.
Well, like I said, the retard circus surrounding it is just completely turned me off to it. And that's not even fair to the movie. The movie itself could be fine, but life's not always fucking fair.
Well, according to World Class Bullshitters, it is the first of the real SJW things to rear its head in the movie verse for Marvel.
That's a shame.
Well, is it SJW or did they just market it as SJW? Because Mad Max Feminist Road had legitimate feminist underpinnings in it, as well as marketing itself. Whereas what I hear is Black Panther is actually alt-right, but it's marketed as pro-SJW.
According to Daddy Warpig, and I can't confirm this myself because, again, I haven't seen it, but the very end of the movie, somebody says that Wakanda will show the world the way. Yeah.
The thing, I would guess
when Thanos shows up in Avengers 3, Black Panther comes out and says, "Spit on him, brothers."
I would guess. See, remember how like Wonder Woman was supposed to be all uber feminist back before it actually opened, and then it opened and it really kind of wasn't. Like there really wasn't anything SJW in it at all.
No, Wonder Woman was actually pretty good.
Yeah, my guess is there probably
terrible, but go on.
There probably isn't actually that much SJW stuff in Black Panther.
There's not. Again, according to WCB, World Class Bullshitters, who I listen to. Oh
yeah, I just started listening to them too.
They said that it's literally just pokes its head up at the very end to be like, look, we're totally doing this, guys, right? Because SJW is such a huge market. Come buy tickets. And it's like, no.
Yeah, I'm going to be cynical for a second. And, like, listen, it's not the 12-20% of the population. That's not the one that's selling out theaters, okay? Yeah. And I don't think that there's a bunch of people that are upset about the SJW versus alt-right, and they're going to see it. My suspicion is that there's a lot of people, your average white people with white guilt, want to see a black empowering movie. I think that's what's going on.
Well, I mean, and also Avengers is a huge brand right now. So I said from the get-go that, yeah, it'll make some money because, people like the Avengers movies. I didn't think it was going to do this well. I thought it was just going to do like Ant-Man kind of money. But I guess the marketing campaign sold the white guilt on it. Because I'm fresh out of white guilt, though, so I couldn't go see it.
If you skip Ant-Man, you can skip. Even if you're a fan, you can skip Ant-Man. But if you skip this one, you're a racist.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, for me, like, I agree with Ramsey Paul. I am a nationalist for everybody. I actually want Wakanda to exist. I'd love it if black people had their own, high-tech kingdom where they could go and they were doing great and they were making money hand over fist. It's not like I get paid every time a black person gets poorer. Contrary to what a lot of leftists think.
Nobody wants blacks to suffer. We want Hollywood and Disney to suffer. We want those people in the streets having to give blowjobs to, just for the protein.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the difference between me and a lot of the people lining up to see this movie is I want Wakanda to be real. I just don't think it actually is.
The poor Africans just don't know the way.
So some of the things that just drove me nuts, and I've said this numerous times on here, but you get all these retards that are acting like this is the first time black folks ever been in a fucking movie. Like, they got mad that somebody had a half-hearted "it was okay" review that brought the score down to 99%.
Oh yeah, and they said only in Trump's America would this happen.
Yeah,
and it's an Irish guy that wrote the review.
Yeah, that's all fucking ridiculous. And again, and I'm sure Undertow can back me up on this. The fake nerds, SJWs running the nerd culture sites, drive me up the fucking wall. When I see people writing for comic book news sites talking about how great it is, Marvel finally has a black superhero on screen, and I think back to, what was the first ever Marvel comic to see critical and commercial success as a fucking movie? Oh, that's right, goddamn Blade.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like someone asking what's her face from Star Trek Discovery what it's like to be the first prominent black character in a Star Trek series. It's like Ben Sisko is
the best captain / head of a space station would like to speak with you.
Finally, we have a prominent black character in Star Trek. And I thought to myself, that's funny. They had a prominent black character in the fucking 60s. They had 2 black actors on the second series. And the third series had a fucking black captain.
Yeah, and especially like season 3 when he came back from the season break and Avery Brooks had shaved his head and gotten the goatee. And I was like, yes, Captain Hawk is here. I guess all of you were too young to get the Spencer for Hire reference.
Real quick, I got a super chat. Cornelius Rex says, saw Black Panther 6.5 out of 10. Not bad, not great. Don't know if Disney was guilting whites or telling blacks to get over we was slaves. Wakanda is a Mary Sue place.
Yep.
That sounds, I think we are reading, it sounds like that's what it is. Like, we're going to be trying to read stuff into it. It's no offense, Bechtloff, it's a shitty fucking comic book movie.
I will say this is a fun bit of trivia. In DC Comics, they also have a highly advanced civilization in Africa, only it's a city of sentient gorillas. So I will leave it up to the audience on which one is more far-fetched.
Yeah,
I was watching the Matt.
Obviously, it's the gorillas. Hey, look at that. I subverted your expectations, and subverting your expectations is in and of itself a good thing.
Yep.
We're going to talk about Star Wars now?
Well,
see, it's a film about family.
One thing about Black Panther and Star Wars is the idea that nobody can give these SJW movies a bad review in the end is going to hurt diversity. The thing is, people may, again, I haven't seen Black Panther. It could be the best superhero movie ever for all I know. Certainly The Last Jedi was not the best Star Wars movie ever. The thing is, if we get to a point where, you can fool the critics, but you can't fool the audience. We could get to a point where people associate movies that go out of their way to be diverse with just crappy movies. And the problem is you can't tell the difference between which ones are crappy and which ones aren't because everybody's too petrified to give it a bad review because they don't want to be that one critic who has their career ruined over charges of racism.
That's right.
That's right. So what you'll end up with is people just not going to see diverse movies because they're just not because they're racist, because they just don't want to see a crappy movie.
I was watching this, Matt Forney's doing this Let's Play of Max Payne, and people in the comments were commenting on how sexy Mona is in it. And I was just thinking, like, back just 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, where you could have a black character like Blade and Cisco. They're very black characters, but that's it. They're just black, you know. And women, Mona is sexy. Tomb Raider girl is sexy. And, you know, girls in Hollywood, they want to be sexy. So guys look at their ass. And that's it. Who the hell doesn't want to be sexy?
Yeah. At the risk of sounding like a bunch of the old farts at the game store where I hang out, look at what Obama's administration, his tenure did to this country, did to race relations.
Oh, yeah. Remember 10 years ago when you weren't thinking about race all the fucking time? I missed that.
Yep.
Well, one of the things with the women is, like, since SJWs are Puritans at their core, they can't tell the difference between pretty and slutty.
Yep.
So every woman that they present has to be dumpy and look awful. I mean, even like The Last Jedi, Rose, I think her real name's Kelly Tran, the actress.
Yeah. Even in China, they were like, this person ugly.
The thing is, she's actually better looking than that.
She is. They dumped her up. They made her look worse for the movie.
Yeah,
because that's the audience they're going for. That's the person.
They hate the light. They just hate beauty.
It's the same reason. It's the same reason.
They literally put an ugly filter. They did the original character models, and they were based upon the actors, and they were pretty. So they put an ugly filter on all of the characters. The running like she dumped her in her pants. That's an engine glitch. But the ugly face models is not an engine glitch. It is intentional.
And the thing is, like, it's the same reason that they hate anime and that people in, you know, alternative right wing are so drawn to anime. It's because everybody in anime is pretty inherently, because that's part of the art style, is just to make people as idealized as possible. And everybody is. Even the people that are ugly, quote unquote, in those anime shows are like good looking people that just have their eyes are a little bit crooked or something, you know?
Oh, actually, while I'm thinking of it, Arini, I've got a couple of anime recommendations for you. If you haven't seen the new season of Kino's Journey, go and watch that. And there's one that just played this season called Girls Last Tour.
Oh, that one's so great.
Oh, I love that show.
Girls Last Tour?
It's post-apocalyptic, just a couple girls hanging out, and they're like the last people on Earth. And yet it's somehow very comfy.
I was watching, or I was listening, I was reading this article on comic book resources, and it reminds me of what you're talking about, where they just hate beauty, they just hate attractive. This guy was ranting on, and I can't remember the artist's name, but he was the artist that did the '90s Catwoman book, and this was at the time Catwoman had a purple outfit with black boots and black gloves, and I always liked purple outfits for those kind of characters in comics because it's bright enough to be colorful and interesting, whereas still somewhat dark enough to be somewhat believable as a kind of stealthy looking outfit. But the artist was quite the babe artist. He just loved drawing hot women and, you know, never missed an opportunity to do so in that book. And this fucking probably blue-haired goddamn feminist on comic book resources talking about how, oh, it was so terrible that this was, you know, this is what things were like back then, and then, you know, oh, we're so much better now. And it's like, yeah, it's so much better now that Carol Danvers looks like a fucking dyke and Squirrel Girl looks like she has Down syndrome. Isn't this nicer?
Oh no, attractive, healthy people. Look, a loving family. Oh my God, it's fucking terrible.
And he's going off about how this person,
my one weakness.
Yeah, he's going off about how Catwoman's body type was unrealistic. I'm like, first of all, there's aliens and wizards and all sorts of other goddamn nonsense running around the DC universe, and you want to talk about realism. Second of all, somebody who's like all acrobatic and athletic, super thief, isn't going to be in good shape.
No, listen, there's some credence to the argument that the chainmail bikini is kind of ridiculous. All right, sure. I agree. The chainmail bikini is like, what the hell are you doing there? You know, but. Good Lord. It's not an unrealistic beauty standard. It's called hit the gym, stop eating cupcakes. My girlfriend looks like that. Why the hell don't you fat piece of garbage with a little man bun, even though you're a woman?
Oh, look what Aubrey Sitterson did to poor Salvo. Making him into an obese Samoan.
A couple of super chats here, real quick. We got Cornelius Rex super chat. They passed Wakanda as more advanced than Atlantean. Part of the reason in the comics, at least, Wakanda is more advanced is because they, centuries or millennia ago, they stumbled across some ancient alien tech. So
they
basically,
didn't even invented themselves, man.
So basically, Wakanda
just
jacked some alien rims.
So you're not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens?
In all fairness, like half of the Marvel universe was ancient alien shit. And the Resistance asks, Undertow, do you like One Piece?
I've never watched it. The art style doesn't appeal to me, and I mostly watch like moe shows because I just when it comes to anime, I prefer the shows that are just kind of there to help me relax because I have actually pretty bad anxiety, and when it comes to those sorts of things, I enjoy stuff like what's it called, Non Biori, where it's just a bunch of girls living in the countryside and being nice to each other. Nichijou is my favorite anime. I like things that are just sort of pleasant.
I wanted to make a joke that you like the anime that's all about like the dude fucking teenage boys that somebody from TRS did, but I couldn't remember.
You mean Boku no Pico?
Yes, damn it! I couldn't remember the damn weeaboo name, so like I couldn't make the joke.
Hey, the new season of Umaru-chan's pretty comfy.
I completely disagree. That sets my anxiety off like nothing else. Because I have a younger sister, and I really, really can relate way too much with the brother in that scenario.
Oh, Cornelius Rex says, I'm sorry, I misread that. It was Attilian, which is the Inhuman city he was referring to. It's not Atlantis.
Is it the Moon Nazis or something?
Sort of.
Moon Nazis!
They do live on the moon. All right, so moving on to...
I just say, if there were Moon Nazis, doesn't that kind of prove that they deserve to rule the Earth? I mean,
well, I'll tell you what it does prove. It proves that they deserve to rule the moon.
At the very minimum.
That company, I think it's called 1E Entertainment, they are some of the only good, mid-grade studio out there where they're not huge, high budget, but they're not indie films. And they produce a lot of really interesting, fun movies. As I've said, describing that movie Iron Sky, if somebody says to you Moon Nazis and you say, go on, you'll like this movie.
By the way, even better than Iron Sky was the same people's film before they did that, which was Star Trek. If you've ever wondered who would win in a fight between Star Trek and Babylon 5, go and watch it.
They've done a bunch of good movies. I think A Christmas Horror Story or something like that was one they did. Devil's Rock is pretty good. A bunch of stuff from them.
Oh, and Rich 520 in the chat. Yeah, Space Brothers is a pretty good anime. It's long, but I like it too. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
But no, moving on to a bit more serious topic. There was a bit of an incident this week involving a shooting. And there's a lot I want to talk about on this. First of all, I'm just going to get this out of the way right here. I'm done arguing with the gun control people. I'm well past done arguing with them. The answer is no. To anyone listening, and I probably don't have many, who is all pro-gun control, and there's a few useful idiots on the right who fall into that category, the more alternative right elements. But no, the answer is no. No, I'm not giving up my fucking guns. No, it's not happening. Okay? And if that answer is not sufficient for you commie shitbags, I would invite you to do something about it.
Let me just talk something quickly. Every so often I hear somebody propose quote unquote reasonable gun legislation, that you should have to take a safety course, that you should have to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, last I checked, we have driver's licenses and people can't fucking drive. I took a gun course because you have to here in Canada. You don't learn shit from the gun course. If you are an idiot before you get the course, you're an idiot after you get the course. Okay? Well, there is nothing to do. There is nothing we can do to stop idiots from being idiots or psychos from being psychos.
It's this simple with the gun control thing. The answer is no. And if you leftists ever had the political clout to make that happen, and it is your single most unpopular position, then you know what? I don't care. I have made my peace with God. Let's dance. You will take these out of my cold, dead fucking hands. All right. You will have my guns over my dead body, and most likely the dead body of at least one or two of the people who tried to take them from me. That is it. And yeah, I don't think I can fight off the government. I just think I can make it not worth it for them to take it from me. And beyond that, I've made my peace with God. Let's fucking dance. You want to dance? Let's dance. I don't care. But the answer is no. I'm not giving up my guns. I'm not discussing it with you fuckers. We're not going to have a compromise or a reasonable discussion. No, now what? Is the only response to the gun control lobby.
But Bechtloff, I've seen this great argument on Twitter from David Malky. He says, if gun control is pointless because determined mass shooters can get a hold of guns regardless of laws, why have we not seen schools attacked with 50 caliber machine guns and howitzers? Could it be because legal restrictions on their availability succeed in making them hard to get?
No, it's because people choose the avenue of least resistance. You know, it's if you can't get guns, you make Molotov cocktails. I was just looking at POW. Do you know what website was teaching me to make Molotov cocktails? Wikipedia. All right, there are plenty of ways to kill people. If you take away the guns, it'll be Molotov cocktails. If you take away the whiskey bottles and we can't have Molotov cocktails at the schools. The whiskey has to come in plastic freaking containers now. Okay, next thing it's going to be people running them over with cars. If you want to kill someone, and go to Britain. All right, they completely got rid of guns.
Yeah, aren't they so safe over there?
Yeah, and there's a huge spike in violence using knives.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm going to hit people
nearly as many gun deaths.
Also, I wonder whether, people might notice someone rolling a howitzer up to the school. Although, again, considering
I really need to jump in here.
Speaking of noticing, it's not like this. There weren't a bunch of red flags in this case that we'll get to.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I would like to give my thoughts on this because I actually have some distant acquaintances who live in the neighborhood where this guy's family was. This was a nice neighborhood, okay? So when there was weird white trash stuff going on with this family, it was reported. And this is a family who the mother would throw rocks from their gravel driveway at passing cars. This kid would walk up and down the street with a loaded rifle and was reported to the police. I know one person reported them more than 20 times. Another person reported them upwards of 30 times. There were hundreds upon hundreds of reports of this kid and his family and the shitty people they were.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
And moreover, he took an Uber to the school. And he had the rifle with him in this car. And the Uber driver did nothing.
Thanks, Uber.
The police did nothing. Every time this person was called, they were called in for these people. Like, yeah, they're crappy people, whatever. Just let them go. They're going to do whatever.
Didn't the guy comment on a video saying he was going to be a professional shooter, and then the video guy sent that to the FBI?
He commented on 2 videos that he was going to.
And the guy who reported his Facebook for that, he was questioned by the FBI. And the FBI claimed until earlier today, the FBI claimed that they could not find this guy who was on Facebook with his real name.
Yeah,
and I would like to remind you, this is somehow the gun's fault.
Look,
that's where the disconnect lies. Forget about all the arguments against gun control. Think about the logic here.
Does anybody here doubt that, one day I've just had enough, that I can't grab a piece of 14 mil rebar and kill a lot more than 17 people before the cops put me down? It's not the damn gun.
There's a line in Rick and Morty, and I know Rick and Morty, high IQ memes. But it was pretty clever when, they were talking about vampires being real. And Summer's all like, what are we going to do? And Rick just goes, we're going to live our lives until we die. Possibly from vampire. More likely from car disease or from car wreck or heart disease. And there does come an element, as you're saying, Davis, where, if somebody goes crazy and they're going to kill everybody, you know, aside from maybe paying attention when they announce it on fucking Facebook, there's not a whole lot you can do. You know, there's always an element of danger to this world. There's always an element that any one of us could be dead before this live stream ends. That's just how the world works. And at a certain point, you need to make your peace with God and live your life.
Well, you know, one thing that people who support gun rights, including me, say is, you know, we don't need more laws. We just need better enforcement of the laws we've already got. And we've had 2 mass shootings in a row. The Texas shooter at the church who passed a background check when he wasn't supposed to because a government paperwork screw up means that his dishonorable discharge for the military for spousal abuse was never reported. And now this kid, where literally there's months of his neighbors going, "Hey, over here, we've got this guy. We think
not months,
up our
years.
school. Hello,
Years.
can someone come help us?"
39 times the cops showed up at his house. 39 times. This is not a screw up. You know, I'm going.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Brazil by any chance? Just asking, just a little non sequitur there. Has nothing to do with, you know.
I'm going.
Pastor Tom is here. I forget. Pastor Tom, thanks for joining us.
Hi, happy to be here. I
don't
haven't seen Brazil though.
Okay, it's 1984, but instead of all powerful government, it's completely incompetent government that's all powerful.
Kind of sounds like America.
Yes.
Dude, it is the organs of government. I was talking with my friend about this. He should be working for CSIS, our CIA. Except during his interview process, his final interview was with an obese lesbian. So he didn't get hired, even though he knows Middle Eastern culture better than anybody. And he has, I think, a master's degree in poli-sci. All right? Guy should be, instead he's working construction with me. The organs of our state are failing because all of the midwits took over the organs of the society and half the corporations. And so if you're actually smart or competent or forward-thinking, you don't have a shot in hell of getting promoted.
Nope.
I've heard stories of numerous police departments that reject people whose IQs test too high.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
All across the country, and it doesn't surprise me at all.
And you know, you've just got to love the tone deafness of Robert Mueller the very next day announcing that he had indicted 13 people for shitposting on Facebook.
If only this kid would have had ties to the Russian government, they would have stopped him.
Well, it's like, oh, we've indicted the Russians for interfering with the election, and that's supposed to prove anything about Trump? What does that prove anything? Just because the Russians interfered doesn't mean that Trump colluded with them to interfere. Of course they're going to interfere.
They established no collusion at all.
But like, people want to act like, oh, see, this shows that Trump's involved. Give me a break.
Well, you know, I guess we know where all of those FBI resources were going when people were shouting that they had a school shooter living next to them. But a guy who literally put on Facebook that his job was professional school shooter, and people called the FBI and said, "Hey, maybe you want to check this guy out." No, sorry, we're investigating Russians posting memes on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm supposed to give up my guns because a guy who spent a couple years, screaming at anybody who had heard him that I've gone crazy, I'm going to kill everybody, ended up finally killing a bunch of people, and I'm supposed to give up my guns for that. No.
Almost like they were just waiting for it to happen so they could get rid of them.
Yeah,
well,
no shit.
I wonder if one of the teachers might have had a gun on them that, they might have been able to do something. Or if the principal had a gun, he might have been able to do something. Of course, again, where was the officer on site for this? Wasn't there an officer on site at the school?
Shot.
Where was he?
He got shot.
He got shot.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, this kid's a pro.
He was shooting back.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Here's an idea. Why don't we take all of those homeless veterans that are out there, deputize them, give them a gun, and say, okay, you are now in charge of security at your local school.
No, actually, I was thinking about that as well. Or not necessarily with veterans, but like a volunteer service in a sense, kind of like a volunteer fire department where, you cooperate with local law enforcement, you get trained, you get certified, and then you can actually protect the schools in that sense. You can watch them and guard it.
If only they put something in the Constitution about a well-ordered militia.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
And the other thing I've heard a bunch of leftists saying, and I've heard it before, but it's just so fucking trite. Well, when the Second Amendment was written, there was just like muskets and shit, and that's all they had. They couldn't they couldn't think of an AR-15. It's like, first of all, you are using your First Amendment on the fucking internet to say that.
When the First Amendment was written, there was only a quill and pen.
Yeah, I guess the First Amendment applies to the printing press, and that's it. Not television, radio, or the internet. It's not like these amendments were regarding actual concepts of self-defense and freedom of expression. No. They just apply to the technology at the time.
And you're going to tell me that the same people
fathers were heavily autistic.
And you're going to tell me that the same people who want to say that, when they wrote the Second Amendment in the Constitution, it was only talking about muskets, but yet at the same time, though, the Constitution is living enough to where it can incorporate same-sex marriage, when I guarantee you not a single founding father had same-sex marriage in mind when he was writing, when they were writing articles about marriage.
Yeah,
so on the one hand, it's livable enough to mangle it to your own ends, but then, you can't change it. It's got to be strict enough that only means muskets and, that kind of thing for their own purposes.
If only Luke was here to do a soundbite of Jordan Peterson talking about the bloody postmodernists.
There's, quite frankly, they didn't just have muskets. The people that wrote that Constitution personally owned, as in had on their private property, miniguns and artillery cannons.
Yep.
They thought artillery devices and fucking miniguns were included under the Second Amendment.
Yeah, I
Second Commandment.
You know what? Yeah,
that's fine.
Let's rephrase all of our amendments to be commandments. Then we'll stop having so many arguments. That'd be great. Thou shalt have guns.
Yeah, buy a gun, faggot. That's the same.
And
hey, Christ said it.
He did say sell your cloak and buy a sword.
Of course, the government making a complete ass of itself in this situation was accompanied by the press making a complete ass of itself, printing that the school shooter, Mr. Cruz, was a white nationalist, and then having to retract it in a couple of hours when they figured out they got punked.
I'm just amazed they didn't run with Sam Hyde's picture.
He can't keep getting away with it.
At this point, he could. Any lawyer could argue reasonable doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Donald Trump and Sam Hyde shot a series of people in New York, received standing ovation.
If I hear one more person say, ban assault rifles, and I don't know, assault rifles are banned. What's wrong with you?
Anything is an assault rifle if you know how to use it to assault someone.
Well, but I mean, talking about the actual definition, though, I mean, of an assault rifle, what they're talking about is they want to ban the AR-15. They don't understand that the AR does not stand for assault rifle. It's the name of the company.
Assault rifle is about as meaningful as the term sports car. It's saying ban the sports cars because those guys driving sports cars keep getting into drunk driving accidents. Guess what? They'll just buy a Civic and put a shitty Mechanoset spoiler on the back, and then they'll get into a car accident.
I don't know what a Mechanoset is, but I agree with you.
Oh, all right. 10 years ago, all the Civic drivers would get these.
I know. Listen, Davis, I'm just shit posting. It's okay.
Okay, I hate racers, man. Even though I am.
I mean, there's
love my Mazda.
If you have yellow fever, Davis, you can't really be talking about hating Japanese cars then.
Oh yeah, I drive a Mazda, but I can't stand the fucking racers. And I'm getting a body kit for my car, but I can't stand the fucking racers, man.
You don't want to know what
people who put spoilers on trucks.
You don't want to know what the word Mazda means in Russian either.
Does it mean
is it baloney?
There are people on Twitter who are really, really upset. They're like, oh, this is someone punking the CNN on this is going to hurt the white nationalist cause because leftists are going to be saying that this was a white supremacist for years. Yeah, I know they are. They'd say that no matter what. Facts don't matter to them. They're fanatics, so you can't ever convince them that they're wrong.
They're
about
also postmodernists.
Yeah, they say a lot of batshit crazy stuff. It's really hurting them more than anybody else.
Faggots, don't buy an AR-15. It's gay as shit. It only fires 5.56. Go buy an SKS. You can get them used from the Russian military for $200, and it fires 7.62.
Yeah, but Davis,
that's a real cartridge for real men.
That's a real
AR-15 makes a communist cry, though.
And here's the best part. If you live in a shithole of a country with a bisexual prime minister where you're not allowed to have a magazine with more than 5 in it, this thing actually loads clips directly into the top.
Yeah.
So you've got a never-ending magazine.
No. Dude, you can go down to Canadian Tire and get an SKS for $200 in Leafland. Can't get that here because of our import restrictions on them. Here, an SKS will cost you $450 or $500.
Davis, by the way, my home country is pronounced Chitole, and I would appreciate you to get it right next time.
I can't believe that there's one area where Canada is better in the gun regulations than America.
Oh yeah, there's a couple. It's they just haven't got to it yet to ruin it yet.
That's just that kind of broken clock being right twice a day thing.
Yeah. Do you know how much an SVD costs in the U.S.? And you can go to Canadian Tire and get one for like nothing. You can also get a short-barreled shotgun up there. We can't get one here.
Because people think, well, why did somebody think of the children? Oh.
Honestly, the whole fully auto thing is kind of over. It's not that useful. It's a nice.
No, it's not. But it's scary. Oh.
I'd rather have it than not have it, but it's it's like having a spoiler on the truck. Sure, it makes the truck go faster or something, but you don't really need it.
You don't need a spoiler on a truck. The truck's not for going fast. It's for hauling stuff.
You don't live in Alberta, my friend.
No, I live in the country where we have trucks for hauling stuff. We actually use our trucks for their intended purpose.
Yeah.
Here in Alberta, we haul stuff as fast as we can.
But honestly, I mean, the whole troll with the white nationalist thing with Cruz, it really does work to our advantage because it makes the press and the ADL look stupid, and anything that takes away any remaining trust in the press works for us. And also, by the way,
it is really disappearing.
The FBI incompetence on this gives Trump the chance to clean house at the Bureau.
It sure does.
Which I hope he does.
Long overdue.
The press did a whole lot for white nationalists by just, loving themselves so much over Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most alt-right movies I think that's ever come out that they just absolutely love.
I've often said that, nobody advocates better for a white ethno state than the enemies of white nationalism.
Yeah, look, the thing is, nothing's going to come of this. Trump won't sign any gun control. The state of Florida won't sign any gun control.
Hoorah.
I'm tired of this cycle where, for 2 or 3 days, everybody has a freak out and we get this burst of model and emotionality, and then it's forgotten a week later. That's what happened in Vegas. It's what happened after the Texas shooting. It's what's going to happen this time. This is a fart in a hurricane.
Well, that's what I said. That's why I'm tired of arguing with them. The answer is no. If you don't like that, do something about it, or just shut up. I'm tired of hearing you cucks whine. But speaking of cucks, the great Richard Dawkins chimed in on this on the Twitter machine.
Oh, did he now?
Yeah, and
I wonder what he said.
Fedora Supreme had a couple of things to say. On the 15th of February, he tweeted out, "Hell does not exist. Otherwise, the members of the National Rifle Association would surely go there. Perhaps they'd experience a form of hell here and now if they had the imagination to think of the bereaved weeping for their children. But no, they're too stupid to understand." And immediately afterwards, he says,
Fedora.
Because I assume a bunch of people attacked him and it hurt his feelings. "They're there. I do understand. Taking away your guns is like taking away your comfort blankie. You'll feel bereaved. Tell you what, though, we know how to deal with bereavement. We'll send our thoughts and prayers. Then you'll feel better." You'd think a man obsessed with evolution would understand the basic desire of an organism for self-defense.
You think he'd understand the K and R reproductive strategies. Yes, it is my comfort blanket. Because when I have it, I know that no motherfucker is going to fuck with me.
And I really can't believe he was all like, think of the children. He literally said, think of the children. What a faggot.
Yeah, you would think a man of science would, I don't know, not go immediately to weepy emotionality as his argument style.
Well, or somebody who bashes religion all the time would maybe have a better understanding of hell.
I miss Christopher.
Like, you don't go there till you die?
I really miss Christopher Hitchens. It was a huge fedora, but at least he was interesting. Dawkins is so fucking predictable and boring. Like, there's nothing
He's
ever
way
says
more
that isn't just
autistic than
boilerplate leftist shit.
he is nowhere near as good of a speaker as he thinks he is.
Although I must correct you, anyone who thinks that you can't go to hell before you die has never been to Stockton.
Didn't Dawkins leave his wife for a really ugly tranny or something?
I wouldn't be surprised.
All right.
Anyhow,
So,
if we're on with that, by the way, just something I thought of. What do you
We're
guys?
done with the retard sex.
no, the retard sex hasn't even started. And trust me,
Oh no!
coming up later, I have such sights to show you.
Oh, is it going to involve Sailor Mars? Tell me it involves Sailor Mars.
I would like it if it involved Sailor Mercury, preferably.
Go ahead, Auntie Dan. What were you going to say?
What do you guys think of the Trump lunchbox?
The Trump lunchbox?
Yeah,
I'm not
the
familiar
idea
with that.
Trump's announced this plan that he wants to replace food stamps.
Oh, the food stamp thing, yeah.
With literally sending people like a Blue Apron lunchbox with just like surplus government cheese in it.
He's bringing back government cheese.
I think this is like the most brilliant thing ever.
Yeah, do it. Then they can't spend it on other things.
On the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I've seen too many times. First, I've seen too many times when I've been in line behind someone at like a discount supermarket and seen people obviously buy, like, you don't buy like 12 pounds of onions and 15 heads of lettuce unless what you're really doing is buying supplies for your restaurant at the grocery store on the government dime, which I saw all the time when I lived in California.
I knew people, friends of friends kind of thing, that would sell their food stamps for like, here's $50 worth of food stamps if you give me $25 kind of thing.
Yep, that happens all the time. People buying. I was just hanging out with William Roman. He was talking about his coworkers talking about having EBT cards and buying shrimp and steak on it. Yep. Nah, send those fuckers a lunchbox with government cheese in it.
Honestly, it's shocking how easily it is to, like, I could probably get fucking EBT if I wanted to get it. I don't, because I have self-respect and I'm capable of shame. But I could probably qualify for that shit. It's shocking how high the low or whatever, how much you can be making and qualify for so much of this shit. I would think, we're helping the poor starving people. No, we're not.
I would say, why not just give them money? And if they spend it all on crack cocaine, they get kicked out and they die in the street. Good riddance. Like, seriously, just give them money. Let them die in the street. If you are too stupid to spend your money on food, you deserve to starve.
You are correct.
But I love the plan. I love what Trump is doing because you know what, there is too much mercy in this society. We are mercy needs to be tempered by justice, and we've forgotten about justice. So my plan will never work. At the very minimum, let's just give these stupid idiots food.
It triggers the left so much, so they're like, this is inhumane. It's like, what? They're supposed to be buying food anyway, so here they're getting food. Like, it puts the left once again in a position where they have to defend the indefensible. They're now in the position of basically defending EBT fraud.
And that's why it's a brilliant maneuver. That's exactly it's. And now all of a sudden, like, what percentage do you think? 30%, 60% of the people on EBT are on it because they can scam it. Those people, now there's no reason to be
You're
on.
You're going to go that low?
Yep. All right, so there's a couple other things I want to talk about. First, let me real quick bang out the sponsors. Let me bring this up. Okay, so the first sponsor we have is for Steve's Jerky. Let me see if I can get the ad copy.
Well, is it covered by food stamps?
Yeah, I don't know if he takes EBT or not. But hello, fellow Bechtloffians. Are you fans of beef jerky? Do you hate the shit that grocery stores and gas stations try to pass off as real deal jerky? Are you tired of stereotypical jerky that's dry in hell and tough enough to use as shoemaking material? Look no further. Steve's Jerky is here to help. Steve is a Cajun from south of Louisiana that cuts and cooks homemade jerky that's moist and tender. It's marinated for 3 days and heavily seasoned to deliver a moist and flavorful snack. Steve's been developing his recipe since high school and is currently 34 years of age. He's come a long way. His friends, family, and coworkers are always asking for it, and he cannot keep enough of it. Steve hopes you will love his jerky as much as he does. Thanks for the patrons. Steve vacuum seals the jerky in 5-ounce packages, and they sell for $10 a pack. Shipping is $5. I apparently said $15 last week. That was a misstatement. Shipping is $5 using the U.S. Postal Service Priority Mail. Buy 3 packs, and Steve covers the shipping. For the same reason you support local business, please support your fellow Bechtloffians and support Bechtloff himself. Thanks. Order following jerky through the link below, facebook.com/Steve Jerky. And down below, you'll also see where there is the Patreon and the PayPal and the Amazon wish list. And if you like the show, please consider supporting it through any of those means. All right. So moving on. Anybody doing the Lent thing?
Yeah, I am.
I'm doing it.
Yep.
I try to make sure I get dealt with before I put my stuff in the dryer. Actually, these days.
Yeah, I gave up. I gave up soda for it because that's such a big deal. Actually, I had from some fucking wicked caffeine withdrawal headaches this week. But yeah, I gave up soda for it. I like doing the Lent. I don't do it every year, but I do it periodically.
Well, I gave up liquor. And let me tell you, man, liquor withdrawal nightmares have fever dreams got nothing on them.
Davis has just been drinking rubbing alcohol since then.
Liquor, I hardly know it. Hey,
It just
was it that bad?
It wasn't that good.
Oh,
Here in PA for Fat Tuesday, here in Central PA, I guess I don't know if it's all over the state. We have what's called Fosnut Day. And if you've never had a Fosnut, imagine a donut, but gross.
Why don't you just go to Dunkin' Donuts?
Basically, it's like imagine like a jelly donut, like a powdered jelly donut. Only, it's not filled with jelly. It's just fucking dough. And it's this weird potato bread. Now, if potato bread doesn't exactly sound like a sweet, delicious dessert type thing, that's because you're right. It's disgusting. And all over the place here, it's false nut day. Like places I've worked over the years, it's like you go in the break room and there's false nuts. And every year I turn into like an Alzheimer's patient. I'm like, ooh, a donut. Like I just forget last year. I take a bite out of it. Like, that's disgusting.
Pennsylvania has the oddest food culture. I grew up in New Jersey and New York, and like Pennsylvania is its own completely different thing when it comes to food.
We have a lot of German heritage here, and speaking as a man with a lot of German heritage himself, German food sucks. In fact, I'm convinced the reason Germany kept invading other European nations was to try and get a decent meal. Because German food is fucking terrible.
why did they invade France then?
They wanted some pastries, I guess.
Oh.
Oh no! Next time you're in San Francisco, Suppenkuka, out in it's not in the Tenderloin, but it's like a few blocks away. Damn good stuff. I miss it already.
All right. Let's see. So we got to a bunch of this stuff. Let's talk about some articles here. We got some interesting articles.
No, I was afraid of this.
Yeah, we got some interesting. I have such sites to show you all. I'm going to start with the Tamer one. Let me bring it up. This is fucking fantastic.
So this is the part where you open the Hellraiser box.
Oh yeah, dude, we're opening the Hellraiser box here. Big time.
You realize Common Filth is gone because he literally did turn into Pinhead, right?
Oh yeah, where has he been?
Now he just does video game reviews.
Oh man, hang on. I gotta look it up. I'm sorry. I thought I had it saved here, but I guess my computer rejected it because it was too terrible. Here we go. From the Huffington Post. So that's how you know it's
the Huffington Post.
That's good. I like that. I'm going to throw it up in the chat here for you guys. And for those of you playing at home, this is by Amanda Duberman from the 13th of February here in the glorious year 2018. Meet the dominatrix who requires the men who hire her to read black feminist theory.
Oh, damn it, that's cruel. That just goes over the damn line.
I know. I'd
Look,
have to
whip
go
me,
out to
beat
see.
me, smack me, hit me with chains. Do not make me read Toni Morrison. For the love of God.
I'd have to yell out the safe word myself there. I mean, you know, there's only so much a man can take. She's not even that good looking, for fuck's sake, people.
She's got one of those bulgy African foreheads.
That simian brow.
Okay,
Really
everyone out there, I have a master's degree in literature. As Paul Harrell would say, I am a professional. For the love of God, stay away from Toni Morrison. You'll never forgive yourself. And frankly, Alice Walker and what's the name of that stupid poet? Maya Angelou, all of them absolute trash. By the way, there are actually good black authors that have written in the world. Charles Chestnut's fine. Just don't know. No.
Okay, just so no. Let's skip to the money shot, shall we? This is my favorite line in the article here. This is her talking. I would say, first and foremost, that I describe it as a form of reparations.
So that means you're not going to ask us for money?
Honestly, I've made the joke on like troll Twitter accounts over the years. Like, is having a black dominatrix reparations? Asking for a friend. So like that, I was reading this on like one of the shitty little weekday streams and all. And I hadn't read it before, and I was laughing for like a minute straight after I read that line. That is hilarious. That is so fucking funny. It's
well,
like
I just noticed this. BDSM as a space for black women's healing and diversity and privilege in sex work. Yeah, you know what,
what does that mean?
Just like you. They're contributing to society. They don't have psychological issues. It's lots of normal people do porn. It's healthy, and you should all wank off to it every day.
My name is Velvet Jones. So you want to be a hoe? Just buy my book for $12.99. I also think you guys probably aren't old enough to remember when Saturday Night Live was actually funny.
You're correct.
Dude, I am just old enough to remember that.
I've been thinking about possibly, to make money, writing erotic fiction about, you know, a woman stuck dating some sort of soy boy male feminist that gets cucked by Chad. I think that might actually contribute to society, honestly.
I don't know. I just keep thinking, whenever I first saw this, it just made me think of that joke on Family Guy about the Jemima's witness.
Oh Lordy, I'm not gonna. I can't go through reading this again because again I'll have to yell out the safe word. But that one line was absolutely fucking hilarious. Thank you, Huffing Paint Post. This was fucking fantastic.
Eventually, I realized, wow, I'm emotionally invested in my clients. They're getting this safe space. The ways that patriarchy impacts men, they can't really be submissive in a lot of contexts. They come to me looking for a safe space to explore the parts of them that may not be seen as masculine. That's because they're not. They're soy boys. They should be castrated. They should be house eunuchs.
Well, I mean, they had to read Black Feminist Theory. Isn't that punishment enough?
You know what?
I think that's castration enough
reading the article.
There's just something so uncomfortable about people that just everything is about their race or their sex all the time.
All the time. That's all they've got because they have no personality.
Speaking of Captain Sisko, there's a interview with Avery Brooks on YouTube where he's at like some college campus or something, or a con or something, and someone asks him, you know, some soy boy comes up and asks him about like being the first black captain. And he's like, I never even thought about it. It was just like, this was a character I wanted to play. It was really interesting, and I gave it everything. And the idea that he was black, or it just like never even came up. You know, imagine that these days.
Yeah, really.
I can't imagine that.
Of course, that's back when, you know, there was actually decent things to watch and stuff. We got another article here, another thing emerging from the Hellraiser box here. This is from Vice.com. Sarika Shawwal is the author, and I'm sure I'm butchering that name. And this was published on the 9th of March, 2016. So I'm a little late to the game on this, but as they used to say in the 90s back on TV, if you haven't seen it, it's new to you. So here we go, folks. Title: The Argument for Masturbating During Childbirth.
Was there was there like a strong school of philosophy with many tomes written opposed to this, that we need an argument?
Davis, remember, we're in an age where you literally have to tell people not to eat laundry detergent and post video of it on YouTube. So,
well, doesn't the dad have something better to do? I mean, shouldn't he be in there with his wife?
I'm begging for death right now. I'm literally praying for God to strike me dead.
The woman on this article looks exactly what you think she must look like.
Oh, Lordy.
Humor me. What does she look like? I'm not looking at the screen.
Well, I don't know. If you
I just want to hear your description.
She's got tattoos all over her body. She's got a rose on her neck, tattooed on her neck.
Okay.
She's wearing one of those shawls that middle-aged women, but they're like one of those, like, you know, those middle-aged women that dress inappropriately, but they also dress like old ladies. She's wearing one of those.
Oh, okay. Women of a certain age. Got it. She's
got this face that just looks like an old crumpled paper bag. You know, but like some women get pregnant and they have a loving alpha husband and they just glow. You know, this is the other thing that happens. The single mother, where it just sucks all of the vitality out of her skin cells. So she's got this blotchy red skin, no lipstick, problem glasses, haircut, and she's faking an orgasm in the picture.
Oh, God.
All right, so let's begin this adventure, shall we?
I think we already have.
Ask most women about their birthing stories, and sexual pleasure doesn't come into play, do you think?
I wonder why.
Well, it came into play 9 months ago.
Childbirth is messy, painful, and decidedly unsexy. So when Angela Gallo, a Melbourne-based doula and birth photographer, wrote a blog post extolling the benefits of touching herself during labor, the reactions were pretty predictable. Burn her at the fucking stake. Tabloid article.
Yeah, she needs to be taking pictures, not touching herself. What's wrong with her?
You can't be doing that on the job, all right? Have some professionalism.
Unless you're black on Netflix, then it's part of your job.
Tabloid articles shocked and appalled commenters. Gallo, for her part, says she's just grateful to delivered her second child, those poor fucking kids, on her own terms, and touching herself was just one piece of the puzzle. In my first birth, I didn't understand my body on a psychological level, and that's where I really sabotaged myself, she told me. She described her first hospital birth as a cascade of interventions, beginning with 20 hours of labor, followed by contractions. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's healthy baby. That's lovely. That poor kid. For her second birth, she opted to do the bulk of...
Past tense healthy baby.
Yeah, physically healthy. The kid is physically healthy. For her second birth, she opted to do the bulk of laboring at home, assisted by her husband. As I neared transition, near the end of labor, I felt very vulnerable and stressed out. I went into the shower to find some relief. God damn it.
She's the masturbation addict. This is like that episode of Archer where they're trapped in the elevator and the dorky guy needs to start masturbating.
Oh, why?
You know, there comes a point where you realize
sometimes you got to take the edge off, but come on, you got to have a little bit of fucking self-control once in a while here, folks.
Yeah, there comes a point where you realize that that movie, The Rock, actually had a bad ending, and the happy ending would have been if the Marines actually did gas San Francisco.
Yeah.
You know what else about this? It's this relationship to the human body that's upside down. Okay, like it's as if she's writing this article saying, "Oh my God, I just found out something amazing. Do you know this wonderful masturbation thing? It's actually related to making babies." It's like
You're right.
Like, I don't know what it feels like for a woman to breastfeed. Okay, I presume like they seem to like their nipples played with, so it probably feels kind of nice. Okay, but it's like people used to understand themselves as physical organisms with a higher calling. So the sex is messy and it feels good, but it's also producing new life and it's part of God's plan. You know, like there's a really good burn that you get when you lift weights. You know, or eat healthy food, not just McDonald's burgers and just cram them in, but like you eat healthy food, you feel good. Okay. And there's this understanding of biology and morality and spirituality, like this connection for all of this. And she's like an emotionally, a sexually abused 12-year-old girl that's constantly touching herself. And it's fucking pathetic.
Yep. Well, that's it for that story. Moving on.
This one line in here: the hormones in birth and sex are identical. Explain.
Gee, I wonder why.
I'm sure they are. I'm quite certain they are. And you know what? My mother refused to ever call giving birth painful. You know, it's because my mother had that. My mother's a good person. She's not one of these weird modern sex perverts that we're developing.
Look, here's the thing.
The Bible said it was painful.
The hormones involved in running a mile and in smoking crack are identical, too. It's just how you're getting them.
Yeah, this almost strikes me as that argument where it's like, you know, I can't remember exactly where I read it, but some fucking fedora, and it's old stuff making fun of atheists, but some fedora was mocking someone like, "Oh, you drink milk and that's just the secretions of a cow. Why not just drink piss? Because that's also the secretions of a cow." And it's like, you know, you idiot, you don't understand what is meant for nourishment and what is meant for refuge, you know? Yes, at a chemical level, they're probably quite similar, but those differences make all the difference, don't they?
Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings have many of the same elements.
Yeah, that's sort of we were just talking before the show. Yeah, there's a lot of the same skeleton behind Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. A lot of the same kind of archetypes at play, and one of them is basically trash, and the other is fantastic. One of them will still be enjoyed in 100 years, and it ain't fucking Harry Potter.
So we hope. That's if the Eloi take over the Earth, it might just be Harry Potter.
Well, let me put it this way:
know
one of them or
who
none of
likes
them.
Harry Potter hardly anymore, except for the leftists.
Because either the Muslims will just burn everything, and neither one will be enjoyed.
I don't know. The Muslims do like drinking camel urine, so they might enjoy Harry Potter.
Here's the thing. How much would you guys be willing to bet if we could go into the future that My Immortal would last longer than Harry Potter in the cultural zeitgeist, just because of how funny it is to tear that apart? You guys even know what My Immortal is?
Yes, I kind of like that song, actually.
It's like the worst Harry Potter fan fiction ever, and it's hilarious.
Oh, I thought you meant that song. I was like, I kind of like that song.
No, I knew you didn't know what I mean because you said you liked it.
Oh. Yeah, I don't.
The worst fanfic I ever saw was this one Star Wars fanfic called The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I heard it was so bad even China didn't like it.
Ugly people do not want.
Why are they so ugly?
Oh,
Do not want to watch this.
Okay, My Immortal is a Harry Potter fan fiction published in fan fiction known for its incomprehensible narrative and constant digressions. The story centers on a 17-year-old female vampire, a non-canonical character, and her relationships with the characters of the Harry Potter series, most notably her romantic relationship with Draco Malfoy. Ultimately, she is prompted by visions to travel back in time to try to defeat the main antagonist of the series, Lord Voldemort. Okay, it sounds like The Last Jedi just totally ripped this plot off for the Star Wars trilogy, though.
Yes, but she defeats Voldemort by seducing him.
Like I said, just ripped straight from The Last Jedi.
Oh, lordy. So yeah, that was the retard sex portion of the show, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. We have such sights to show you.
What Bechtloff is asking actually is, was it good for you too?
Yes, exactly. Luke actually threw together a sound clip. He took a couple other clips, but like he sort of messed around so they all sort of sound like the same voice, where it's Pinhead coming out saying like, "We have such sights to holy shit, never mind."
Well, was it good for me? I don't know. My balls hurt and I'm ashamed of myself, so I guess so.
Did you have to read any black feminist literature?
I think he was just watching some Lauren Southern.
Oh.
By the way, speaking of The Last Jedi, if any of you have not seen what was just posted on the internet a little while ago, the How It Should Have Ended for The Last Jedi.
Best thing ever.
Like, there are some of those How It Should Have Ended that are a little stupid. There are some that are funny. This one is biting because it's so on point.
Oh, really? I'll have to give it a look.
It's great, especially the Akbar part. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the Akbar part, the ends of, oh yeah, they nailed it.
Of course, I never put it together that, like, and I guess this is just me because I wasn't thinking about it, because someone's like, oh, Disney would never do a movie where you have someone named Akbar run into ships. And it took me a second to think about that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I get it. I had never, put it together.
If Luke were here, I have a wonderful Photoshop on my hard drive that it's titled Allahu-Akbar.jpg.
I was going to say, it's not Worf hugging the flamingo again, is it?
No, it's even better than that one.
All right, so I'm going to open this up for callers, folks. If any of you want to call into the show, message me on Skype, the Bechtloff on Skype, all one word, and I'll bring you in. If you have some retard sex you'd like to share with the class or whatever else is on your mind.
Again, speaking of ugly, I just posted in the chat a picture of Kelly Tran when she's not made dumpy to look like Rose, and she's a little thick with two C's, but she's not half bad looking. Like,
yeah, I'd get on fine.
If they cast her as May, like in an Overwatch movie, yeah, I'd be down with that.
Oh, speaking of worshiping ugliness, let's talk about the Obama portrait, shall we? I don't think we got to talk about this on this channel.
Oh, boy.
Remember that 8 years where America had a clown for president?
Yeah, holy shit, man. Now, when I first saw this, I was briefly mad. I was thinking oh, God damn it, Obama, you managed to embarrass this country as president one last time a year removed from office. But then I thought, no, you embarrassed yourself, okay? Because this is how you will be remembered for as long as the United States continues to exist.
Yep.
Good game, Barry. Good going.
GG. No re.
Well, there's been some great remixes on it, like the one where people posted Homer Simpson disappearing into the leaves.
There's one of Michael Obama's where instead of her knee propping the dress up, it's a giant boner they put under it.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but am I the only one who finds it a little odd that the only black president has a jungle theme as part of his portrait?
I mean, yeah, that was what caught me off guard.
Well, I was immediately amazed at how fucking faggy it is. Right from the get-go. And then somebody pointed out that the leaf pattern repeats. Like, this fucking artist is that lazy. Also, this artist hides sperm in all her fucking paintings. So there's a big old sperm cell on his forehead. This is actual fucking truth.
Oh my God, I see it.
There's a big old sperm cell on his fucking forehead. Barry took the artist's money shot. Chateau Hartiste did a good little post on it where he actually he has a little GIF where it highlights. And then
it's not even highlighting it. It's just adjusting the contrast of the image.
And then that's before we even get to the fucking 6th grader that did fucking Michelle's painting. Holy shit.
Check out the 2 links I just put in the chat for it.
Woo, lad. Woo, lad.
I mean, if this art was any worse, it'd be in a fucking Marvel comic.
It literally does look like something from DeviantArt. Like, that's exactly what I think when I see these. Both of them.
Michelle Obama's portrait is horrible. It really does look like it was done by a 6th grader.
It's very amateurish. There's no other way to put it. It's like somebody who just picked up fucking art as a hobby a year ago or something.
Yeah, well, it's very amateurish. So was his presidency.
Look at that. Look at that. And apparently, you can't be like, oh, that's just some sort of coincidence. No, apparently this artist is known for hiding those in their paintings.
That's their signature.
I mean, look.
All over his face.
I mean, I'm happy about it, but here is the guy who was so incompetent he couldn't even get an assault rifle ban passed after 25 kids got shot with a Democratic Congress.
You know, there is nothing that shows his incompetency more than Obamacare. Because think about this. You know, what was it, Margaret Thatcher that said that socialism is great till you run out of other people's money? Well, Barry couldn't even get the giving out free shit part of socialism right. Like Obamacare, it doesn't give you free health care. It just punishes you for buying shit you can't afford. Like he managed to fuck up socialism before the bill even came due.
Yeah, it's like not a lot of people can't afford health insurance, so we'll just pass a law saying that they have to buy health insurance. Well, why don't you just try solving homelessness by passing a law saying everyone has to buy a house?
I mean, if he would have just expanded Medicare or Medicaid or whatever to just everybody and everybody just gets free health care, it would have come apart and it would have been a fucking disaster. But there probably would have been like a year where we would have been in Fat City. You know, we would at least had a nice time until the bill came due. No, he managed to fuck it up. It didn't go off the rails. It was never on the fucking rails.
How much money did he spend on the website? And the website didn't even work. I remember that being a real big incompetent mess.
I remember thinking during that time, I'm like, you know, maybe it's God's blessing or something that he is so unbelievably stupid. Like, we could have had Darth Vader here, and instead we have Dark Helmet from Spaceballs.
And it just has to eat Hillary Clinton up that first this doofus beat her and then Trump beat her.
Oh, yeah. It's like, well, you talk about eating her up. I will never forget the fact that she was openly fantasizing about his assassination during the 2008 presidential primary cycle. I mean, I remember her in an interview where somebody said, like, why are you still in the race? It's almost mathematically impossible for you to win. And she said, well, you never know. Remember Bobby Kennedy?
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, she just said that on the air. I was amazed it didn't become a bigger deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that scene in Austin Powers where he just gets defrozen. He's like, oh my God, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, exactly. Oh. Yeah, so this was that's what will hang in the fucking, I guess, White House for till the end of time. Good going, Barry. And you know that's great. Let you forever be known as the fucking joke you were. With a big old wad of sperm on your face. That's fucking delightful.
It's like something out of a Kevin Smith movie, like, you know, back when he was funny. It was like Jay and Silent Bob go on a pilgrimage to Washington to see if Obama really has sperm on his forehead.
Yeah, it's like he hired Harold and Kumar to be his fucking painting people. Harold and Kumar paint the official White House portraits.
And it's like, you know, you get to the end of the movie and Silent Bob hasn't said anything all movie, and then like they run into Obama and like his one line is, dude, you really do have sperm on your forehead.
Do you guys ever think about the fact that like the Romans during their decline got up to a lot of weird stuff as well, right? But we only have written reports of it. I mean, well, okay, the Etruscans carved statues of themselves having sex with animals, but, you know, the Romans, we just have these written reports. Future generations are going to have video evidence of all of this. Like Obama with a sperm on his forehead is now a part of recorded history. Like, it's like, you know how professors like to tell their students that Hitler only had one testicle because he lost in the First World War? Well, it's like that, except this isn't even like a weird fact that you know. This is literally the official history of the United States is sperm on Obama's face. For all eternity. Unless if Christ is coming in the next 20 years, which he might be, for the rest of human history.
Please let him be.
America is the country that had a clown for president who was married to a tranny and had sperm on his face.
You know, I thought about that the other day because I made a joke on Gab where I said, imagine going back in time 20 years and you go into a comic book store and you tell everyone that in 20 years' time, a character like Rocket Raccoon will have more merchandise than Wolverine. And then I thought, well, imagine just going back in time 20 years and saying, well, so here was the political history of the United States from 1998 to 2018. Well, you know the president before Bill Clinton? Well, he has a retarded son. So he becomes president, and then a bunch of Durkas attack us, and we fucking lose our mind. If we attack a country, it has nothing to do with that. This goes on for a long time. Eventually, the economy collapses because everybody was being given fucking loans for houses they couldn't afford. And everyone's all upset. So they decide to elect a gay mulatto. And you would think that would be a fucking disaster, right? And it was. But somehow the Republicans...
I mean, yes, exactly. What did you think was going to happen with Obama? Did you think he was secretly a genius with all of his life accomplishments, hiding from classes and passing because he pretended to be from Africa? Shit.
And you would think, okay, the Republicans win in 2012. Nope, they managed to fuck that up. And then, you know that billionaire with the weird hair? He picks up politics as a hobby and proceeds to just push everyone's shit in for like 2 years.
And yes, you can find naked pictures of the First Lady. Those exist.
But it's better than the previous First Lady where everyone has a sneaking suspicion she's secretly a man.
Yeah, we want to see naked pictures of her, but not for the same reason.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I love Trump. He's doing a great job, but can we be honest that he's a bit of a clown?
Oh, sure. That's who you get to lead America now.
Well, America, hey, and I'm not, you know what I think about Canada with Trudeau, okay? I'm not this is not Canadian supremacy, but, you know, America's a little bit of a joke country.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we have had, in my lifetime, and I'm not that old yet, Reagan was president when I was born. And every president until Trump was worse than the last. You know, Bill Clinton was president, and it's like you had fucking Mayor Quimby running the goddamn country. And you think, well, it can't be any worse than this, right? And then you get a retarded war criminal.
Now we've got...
Well, it can't be worse than this. And then you get a gay Muslim who's also a war criminal. And then you think, holy shit, man.
And now we've got Duffman running the country.
And you know what? It's a big old step up, isn't it?
Such a huge step up. Clown Duffman president is a step up of the past 20 years worth of presidents.
But that's the thing. You can't be like, oh, well, what about the dignity of the office? The last president has his portrait with a goddamn sperm cell on his face. There's no dignity in the office left, okay?
Oh, and you know what? Pastor Tom, see if you can find that Canadian. Look up gay pride Trudeau.
Please don't make me.
It's him. He is, by the way, there are rumors that him and his wife are swingers and he's bisexual. Okay, there are solid rumors on Capitol Hill about
so he's
this.
A cuck.
Well, is it a cuck if the bull does you first? I don't know.
Let's face facts. Every cuck is a guy who's bi and hasn't admitted it to himself.
Look, here's
there
the thing.
we go. Look at this. Look at this clown. Look at this absolute clown. Especially, yeah, right there. That's the
dignity of office up there. Okay.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but when you look at the pictures, him secretly being fucking Castro's son, there's something to that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Here's the thing. I mean, Trump is a showman. I first heard Donald Trump's name back in the 80s. And he has spent years learning how the media works, learning how to put on a show, learning how to play the media, which is exactly why he can now. That's why nobody else can do what he has done, and nobody else has been able to do what he did since Reagan, who was a literal Hollywood actor.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Donald Trump is the same person we see on TV in his private moments or inside the White House. He just knows what show to put on, that's going to sell, and he does it.
I mean, in all fairness, these boomer cucks that whine about Trump not being fit for dignity of the office while they're all about Reagan. I mean, Reagan did several movies with monkeys, okay? Like, Reagan was not just an actor. He was kind of a shitty one. He was a B-lister, all right? It would be like John Stamos becoming president or something. And yeah, Reagan had a certain amount of awe for the office, and you know, there's all sorts of reports that he'd never so much as loosen his tie in the Oval Office or something because of how he thought about it. And that's all well and good, but certainly since him, there's been no fucking dignity in the office. You know, there was no dignity of the office under Clinton. There was no dignity in office under W. And there certainly wasn't under Barry.
There's no dignity in culture. Your average guy goes outside wearing socks and a baseball cap.
Yeah, look, if Trump, Trump is a showman. If dignity is what sold, that's what he'd be doing.
But it ain't, so he ain't.
Yeah, there's definitely an art. I mean, look, people get the government they deserve. They get the leadership they deserve. And that's true basically of all forms of government. You know, Trump is, you know, we want a shit show, and Trump's giving us a show while he's also doing what needs done.
You know,
and I've said before, you know, at a certain point, dignity office be damned. If a president was actually doing what I needed him to do, I used to joke that I don't care if he comes out to the podium in a unicycle juggling dildos. Like, just as long as you're executing the communists, fine.
Which isn't far off. I mean, literally, Donald Trump is our first ever president who is in the WWE Hall of Fame.
It's true. Like this. And
there's more dignity in the WWE than the presidential office.
My favorite thing there is when somebody photoshopped, like, I don't know, I think it was like Cruz or something. And then like they photoshopped Ben Carson over the black guy.
And to be honest, is the WWE that much worse than the Coliseum? It's just a dying civilization.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some very good stuff happening right now. Okay, guys, I don't mean to be all negative and shit. It's just sometimes I look at the world, I'm like, good Lord, you are a farce.
I just got a super chat here from Den Giantsky. Is it possible to be friends with hyper liberals?
No.
Probably not, but even if it is, why would you?
Listen, it's not possible to be friends with a hyper anything. That's the real thing.
Oh, you can't. It doesn't matter how white. You could be an albino, okay? And a white nationalist will find something to hate about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me put it this way. Whether it's possible or not, I wouldn't recommend it. Well, I mean, I put out the thing for callers. Nobody's hit me up on that.
We could touch on how stupid Harry Potter is. The conversation we were having before the show.
We already did a little bit.
Yeah, we were talking about this before the show because I mentioned, like, you know, I saw all the Harry Potter. I never read any of the books, but I saw all the Harry Potter movies in the theater, and I liked them when I saw them. I was like, yeah, these are good popcorn flicks. There's a bunch of fun fantasy stuff happening, whatever.
Not true Kino, though.
And, you know, I watched them. I enjoyed them. And then the other day, I'm flipping through the channels, and I come across I don't know why you're putting Kim Possible up there, but I approve. I like Kim Possible.
Yeah. Oh, I want people to call you. Call me.
Oh, okay. I get the reference now.
Sorry, we're going to need some Rule 34 on that.
I was about to say, isn't that
It's not hard to find.
Yeah,
all the Western hentai comics?
Look, I'm not saying that I have a folder worth of Ahsoka Rule 34. I'm just, some people might.
I'm just saying, Luke would definitely be throwing up some wonderful Kim Possible pictures. That's for damn sure. But as I was saying, I'm
not a very good Luke,
and I come across a scene from one of the Harry Potter movies, and I guess they're at like a dance, like a school dance or something. And I'm looking at this scene, and I'm thinking, like, I don't remember any of this. I saw all these movies. I don't know what movie this is. Like, I wasn't hitting the guide yet. I wasn't cheating. I'm like, I don't remember this scene. I don't know any of this. And then it dawned on me, like, I could not tell you jack shit about those movies. I could tell you the overarching fucking story that people who haven't seen the movies could tell you. I couldn't tell you jack shit. That's how those movies, they were the absolute most junk food of movies. They were essentially like Michael Bay's Transformers. It's like I watched them, I was amused, and I never thought about them since. And in fact, if liberals weren't running around acting like Harry Potter was fucking real, I would probably never think about Harry Potter.
Well, let me be frank. If you like Harry Potter, your taste in books and movies is bad and you should feel bad. Harry Potter is absolute garbage fiction where it's completely incoherent. There's no reason. There is no construction to the universe. It's just one scene. Oh, we're going to have a magic mirror. Now we're going to have ghosts and paintings for some damn reason. And there'll be no consequences. We'll never bring it up again. We're going to have a griffin in this scene because griffins are a thing that appear in fantasy stories. It's just this shotgun approach of shit on the wall, and it doesn't earn it. The reason that you care about the Death Star being blown up in A New Hope is not because it's a cool special effect. It's because it was established how scary and evil this was when it blew up Leia's planet. Whereas in The Farce and Gorges, they blow up 5 planets. You don't even know what the planets are named, so you don't care. It's completely irrelevant. All right, and that's Harry Potter. Nothing that happens for a reason. Like Malfoy, he's bad because he's bad, and aren't bullies bad? And that's it. There is no justification. They don't earn anything in this story.
I remember something Movie Bob said when he was talking about movies that should be rebooted. And he mentioned, now this was back when Movie Bob was at least not completely disappeared up his own ass, but he mentioned the Harry Potter movies, and he goes, okay, fine, you like these movies, but can't you admit that they could be boiled down to 2 or 3 movies? And I'm like, probably.
It actually could be worse. It could be The Magicians, which is just like Harry Potter, except with more sex and degeneracy.
Listen, I can sum up my distaste for the Harry Potter series in one scene. I think it's the one where they have the big tournament, Goblet of Fire, where it's like an hour-long swim to get to the place where the mermaids live, and like the challenge is to swim to where the mermaids live or whatever. And he gets all dejected, and he's like, I can't hold my breath for an hour. As he's sitting in a magical library, and a book floats past his face of its own accord. Even then, he doesn't have the gumption to get up and look into a book of spells and say, I'm sure one of these might have something to do with helping me breathe underwater.
Yeah, there's got to be a fucking spell in this library.
He has to be told by somebody else, here, if you chew on this gillweed, it'll help you.
And again, that's never explored.
Never explored again. Why is there a thing called gillweed? Why does it make you grow gills when you eat it? Does this have any ramifications later on? Nope.
I only saw the first one, and it's that stupid snitch that really offends me. They've got this big soccer game on broomsticks, and you get 5 points for scoring a goal, but you get 5 million points for catching a snitch. Well, in that case, all teams should be trying to catch the frickin' snitch, because there's no point in getting 5 points when you get. It's a designed game that serves the purpose of making the little faggy kid seem important, because he's not good enough to play soccer, but he's Mummy's little dearest, so he's going to catch the snitch because he's Mummy's little dearest. It's the morality of a single mother.
Yes, it
This
is.
movie is everything wrong with our civilization.
The interesting thing about the snitch, though, and why it resonates so much is that's actually a symbol from ancient alchemy that symbolizes self-actualization. So when people see him chasing after this symbol of self-actualization, they think, oh yeah, he's being a hero, because that's what heroes do. So the reason it does get around some of these horrible plot holes and such is that it does have some of the symbolic language. It just doesn't understand any of it.
Yeah, Jordan Peterson's done a lot talking about the Harry Potter movies and how I can't remember the exact wording he used, but he said it has the skeleton of a really good story with absolutely no meat.
The problem is it's a skeleton that's been jumbled up in the coffin. And by the way, is it just me or Pastor Tom? Tell me, like, those are some dick-sucking lips, aren't they?
Why do you expect me to know this?
Yeah, ask the pastor.
I guess we know spit or swallow. That's been answered now. It's such a bad movie. Again,
this was my face when you said that, Davis. What?
It's like these new Star Wars movies that don't earn anything. Okay, so like, listen, the laser sword doesn't actually make any freaking sense whatsoever in Star Wars. Okay, they have guns. Why are they using laser swords? Well, the reason is because, as Undertow just brought up, the sword is a deeply rooted psychological symbol of masculinity.
And the hero.
And Luke has to earn the sword. He gets it, but he doesn't know how to use it. He has to learn to use the laser.
Well, here's the thing. He's handed masculinity because he is a man, but he has to master it himself.
Exactly.
The better way to think of it.
Ray just gets it because laser swords are cool. And it's like, well, no, now it's not cool anymore. It was cool when it was a symbol of the like that. Like, that's a great picture right there.
Yeah.
You know, the stern stoicism, the mature masculinity of that picture. It's not cool because it's a glowing sword. It's cool because of the journey you go on to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
And the new Star Wars doesn't earn shit. And Harry Potter doesn't earn shit. There's no reason that Harry Potter should be special aside from his mummy says he's special.
What is that? What is that? Come on.
Oh shit!
Is there one that's shaped like a coat hanger?
I got some people want to call in. Someone bring some people in.
Tell them to go away. I don't want to talk to them anymore.
Could I just point out the Darth Bobo sword? Okay, like
yeah, the crossguard wouldn't even work.
It wouldn't. You need when you're using a staff. The point is that you can hold on to any part of it. All right. If you can only hold on to the middle of your staff, then all you can do is whack people left and right. There is nothing else you can do. You can't block. You can't parry. It's a useless, stupid weapon invented.
Oh, you're talking about Darth Maul's sword.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Oh, I thought you meant the
Darth
autism sword.
Oh, well, that one's stupid too. The
crossguard wouldn't work, is what I'm saying.
My favorite thing about the Darth Autism one, though, is when you know that picture of George Costanza with the baseball bat where he's looking all smug. Somebody put the Darth Autism lightsaber in his hand.
Nice.
I always call him Darth Bobo the Clown. That's what he looks like.
See, this is why I think that original movies and stories are always going to be better than dredging up, the old saga resurrected yet again. They're always going to be better because if you're a new property, you have to earn your emotional moments. You have to earn your pathos.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they made these sequels too close to the original. It's a copy of a copy. It's too close to the original. Whereas something like the Clone Wars or even Rebels, I mean, they're off telling their own story with their own thing, and they do earn their emotional moments instead of just like, oh, I know, let's slavishly do exactly what somebody did in a better movie 35 years ago.
Star Wars sequels after the original trilogy should have just simply been expanded universe type things, where it's like, here's this fictional universe. Let's, there's a lot going on in it. Let's explore other corners of it.
Yeah, the saga was done. It needed a new set of characters, not related at all to anybody else.
Well, I think the new Star Wars movie would be more interesting if they didn't have the old characters in it, if these were just brand new characters. Now, there's still a whole lot of problems with them, to be sure, but one of my biggest issues with the Star Wars movies, it's like, when you watch them, it's like, is this the future that you had hoped for when you watch Return of the Jedi?
Right, not at all.
Look at, Han, who basically wants Princess Leia and essentially wants a family. His son stabs him in the chest, and he is a loser in his life. Luke Skywalker, who wants to see, the return of the Jedi and wants to see the Jedi, kind of become an influential force in the galaxy, lives just long enough to see all of his dreams and hopes smashed, and then dies on some godforsaken planet, completely isolated, looking at the sun, which, by the way, is a bad thing in the Star Wars universe, directors. That's not a good thing that he stared at the sun. That was a bad thing. And then Princess Leia wanted to see the Republic rise again and wanted to see peace return to the galaxy. And technically, she's still alive, but she's going to have to die between this movie and the next movie because Carrie Fisher's passed away. And so she's lived long enough to see the Republic be absolutely destroyed and see the Empire come back basically into power. So all of these characters, everything that they did in the original trilogy is meaningless now. And all of them did not have a happy ending. So that's why these new movies absolutely ruin the old ones, is because there's no hope. When you watch Return of the Jedi, it's meaningless.
Yeah, Luke,
as much as you can talk about
draining on a fucking toilet.
Yeah.
That's not how I wanted Luke Skywalker to go out. And oh, by the way, he just disappears into the Force. Then what happens to his mechanical hand? Hello?
Yeah, there was not even a clank.
I think they forgot he had a mechanical hand.
So Carrie Fisher
probably did.
Why the hell did there was such a perfect scene for Leia to die in the movie? And it's not like she does anything that Admiral Gender Studies couldn't do later on in the why the hell
didn't tell people her plans, you mean?
There's no reason for her to be in the rest of the movie. It's whatever. But
is it true that she flies through space like a fucking Kryptonian?
Exactly like what you're seeing in the picture right there. That is literally exactly what happens.
That's so there's I get it, okay, she's a Skywalker, but it's like I've never used the Force before. I have no training in the Force, so I'm gonna do something with the Force that no one else has ever managed to do.
Yep.
Well, it's pointless. It's like, oh, she gets sucked out into space. Now she goes and flies back in. Why not just not have her sucked out into space?
Yeah, just have her reach out with the Force and keep herself in the ship and throw herself through an airtight door.
There is no now. If this was a serialized thing, and on next week she's in space, and then she has to pull herself in, it would make sense. You left a cliffhanger.
You know what? That's an excellent point. That entire film feels like an episode of a TV show. Down to the way everything
has the plot for one. The entire plot of the movie is completely stretched longer than a movie needs to be.
Yeah, it feels like one of the bad arcs out of the Clone Wars, poison Mandalorian Gatorade, or space frogs and droids. One of those arcs we don't think about.
It's a small story. They're running away from the Empire because they're out of fuel or some crap like that. That's it. There is no there's no 3-act structure to any of it. It starts with them running away and it ends with them being caught. That's it. It's a 2-act structure with a bunch of stupid garbage about, Luke Skywalker and the casino planet thrown in for no fucking reason whatsoever.
Yeah, that whole subplot that takes up a third of the film, nothing.
And accomplishes nothing, in this movie. Nothing is accomplished in this movie.
P.S. Let's set the animals free, but leave the human slaves.
They bring this
casino planet.
They bring the Silver Stormtrooper, they bring her back to life, and then they kill her. For no reason. There is no character development. There is no plot development. Absolutely nothing happens in this movie.
Well, and that's the other thing. The problem is they make the First Order look like a bunch of total chumps.
Yep.
And the First Order kicks the Resistance's ass, so what does that make the Resistance?
Yep.
The thing is, they ignored Flair's Law, which is, the great philosopher Ric Flair once said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. If you just beat a chump, then that makes you a chump. And if you can't even beat a chump, then that makes you less than a chump.
Yeah.
And listen, I'll tell you what really killed the lightsaber as a symbol of masculinity. It's the fact that 35-year-old man children are wielding plastic lightsabers.
Yes.
That's really what killed the lightsaber. The childish excitement from the fanboys of this movie is, in a way, even if it was a good movie, it would be undermined by the fact that fanboys love it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, okay, I turned 45 this year. I still have I managed to find in my mom's attic some of my old G.I. Joe toys from the 80s, and I have them up on a shelf. And okay, there's my Hiss tank from when I was 9 years old and all that. And it's a nostalgia piece. There's a difference between, hey, look, here's a nostalgia piece from my childhood, and like, I'm going to go out and spend $1,500 on brand new toys at a toy store because I have to collect all of these and I am like 38 years old.
Part of me is very tempted to buy an A-Wing because that was my favorite ship back as a kid when I played the video games. An A-Wing and a pilot. Yeah, right there.
Rogue Squadron A-Wing, man. That's the best stuff.
Except Star Wars is just so gay these days. And it's
not
going
worth having anymore.
To people I absolutely loathe and they loathe me back. That I'm not going to buy it.
Here's the thing, though. Go watch Rebels, the TV show. It's really good, and there's a lot of good A-Wing action in it.
I like the B-Wing.
Yeah, B-Wing is patrician choice, honestly, because it's the most space-ish one. It makes the most sense for a zero-gravity combat
zone. My car is basically an A-Wing. I love the A-Wing.
Dude, Y-Wing master race. Just saying.
Okay, listen.
Y-Wing stinks. Look at their tail end.
If they had used Y-Wings at the beginning of Last Jedi, everybody wouldn't have died because they're faster and they're armed well. And they
why use the slow bombers that have made of paper mache?
No consistency in the universe.
Exactly. That's the problem. You know what? Oh my God. I just realized why the new Star Wars movies make me so angry. They turn Star Wars into Sonic the Hedgehog in terms of and let me back up my autism here. There is zero consistency in Sonic the Hedgehog, and 99% of those problems come from the fact that there is zero consistency from one to the other. Yeah, look at that. That's basically what you're dealing with. It's visually sort of similar. You kind of see rings and somebody goes fast, but there's no consistency between installments of what's going on, what happened in the last one, what are the rules of the universe.
Have we gotten a Luke Skywalker, Ugandan Knuckles crossover meme yet? I feel like that's coming. Ray, you must know the way. Ray is the queen. I feel like that's coming.
My God, what am I looking at?
But by the way, Race, what's on your mind? You did hop in here as a caller.
First of all, Tom, show them that nice little meme that I made that I sent you on Skype there. I feel like they're gonna like that.
All right, let me pull up Skype real quick.
Darth Autism is Shadow.
Why is it over there? I don't want to.
Who's that asshole with the funny-looking dog?
What? Where? What am I looking at?
Yeah, that threw me off too. I don't know what you're looking at.
Okay, I'm autistic enough that I can tell you that the black robot with the yellow trim, that's Jimral, who was Imral from Sonic Battle after he was wrecked at the end of that game and everybody thought he was dead, but then Dr. Robotnik rebuilt him and he appeared in Sonic Advance 3 as the Metal Sonic stand-in because, again, no consistency. You can't just have Metal Sonic. You just got to have this random guy again.
So are you literally Chris Chan?
No, only figuratively.
By the way, Blue Arms was bad enough. Black Arms, just absolutely no.
Unacceptable.
You know, Guilty Spark just brought up the Ewoks, and how Kevin Smith said that ruined Return of the Jedi. Listen, the Ewoks were kind of silly, sure. But the Ewoks, first of all, they get captured by the Ewoks. There's a whole scene of them having to convince the Ewoks not to eat them. And then the Ewoks, perform in the final battle. I'm not.
Yeah, the only part of the Ewoks that was forced was their physical appearance being so cutesy. That's the only problem with the Ewoks.
But see, I kind of like that. I like that aspect because it's just sort of an interesting juxtaposition where it's like, you think this creature that you haven't encountered, oh, it's cute and it's harmless, and it turns out to be incredibly vicious, and they come at you in packs and try to eat you.
That might fit better in another
parts of Star Wars. I'm not even.
That might listen, Bechtloff. Your idea with the cutesy guys that try to eat you, that might fit better in another space opera movie, like I don't know, Galaxy Quest.
Are those the miners? Yeah, they're like 5 years old. Not the miners, the miners.
Listen, my point is the Ewoks are maybe a little bit too cute, and there's an argument to be made there. But the Porgs, or whatever those stupid bird things are in the new one, they serve no purpose whatsoever.
I'll tell you what
the purpose of selling stuffed animals.
I'll tell you what the actual.
Chewie's got to eat something.
The actual purpose for those things, apparently, and I heard this from somebody that when I was railing against this movie, the actual purpose of the Porgs is apparently on those islands where they were filming, there were puffins everywhere. And they just decided, you know what, we don't want to waste time scrubbing these out of every shot or trying to get them to go away. We're just going to CGI over them and make them some kind of space alien. Okay, cool. Space birds, yeah. But now it's like, oh, look, they're so cute. Let's push them as toys.
Why are they on the Millennium Falcon during the final battle? Why the fuck is it there?
Because Chewbacca's a vegan now.
Look at the face, though.
Oh, they are very cute.
They're not that cute. They're ugly. Don't even act like that's adorable.
Here's the puffin, right? Yeah, there's the puffins.
Yeah, there's the actual birds that they photoshopped over because they just got tired of shooing them away.
Honestly, you should have just made the birds look more alien.
Exactly.
I mean, you wouldn't have to really adjust the bird all that much to make it look kind of alien.
Exactly.
But they put them on the Millennium Falcon. Like they pushed that. Like if they just left them as the weird little creatures running around, it would have been fine. But no,
if they had left them as the weird little creatures running around, people would have been talking about, man, wasn't that cool? That little background detail they did. That's the problem. Is you can't. I'm done. I'm out.
Oh fuck. He left the house.
You guys want a really good visual?
I
If my suspicion about Jar Jar's biology is correct, he probably has an organ that hides inside of a slit when it's not being used, and then it just kind of like pops out of his vagina. That's how lizards do it.
Oh, that's priceless. I might need to end the stream on that note because I don't think we could top that. Oh shit. All right, so you know what I am doing?
What are you eating, Chewie?
So does Chewie take that thing in as a pet or something? Like, why is it on the ship? Is it even acknowledged, or is it just there for some reason?
Doesn't he eat one of them?
Yeah.
And the other ones are crowded around watching him eat it, and they're sad?
Yeah.
That's really depressing.
Well, that's sort of a metaphor for what happened to the franchise.
Oh, God.
Everyone's just crowded around watching it being eaten.
Yeah, it amazes me that these terrible, terrible stories are considered that they're at all popular. Harry Potter, Star Wars, like this is basic storytelling is broken. You get even those really, really cynical Saturday morning cartoon shows that are just selling toys have better narrative than these things do.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream because I don't think we can top that fan theory. And I do got church in the morning after all. Anybody got any closing thoughts?
I do. I really, really thought when you gave us that article about masturbating during childbirth that that was going to be the one that made me want to kill myself tonight. Instead, it was Star Wars.
I just want to say that Pastor
Salem Mars, whoever she is.
Yeah, urge to kill decreasing. I just want to spank the living shit out of her.
I actually have that figure, the one fourth from the left on the top row.
Yeah, show them the real best girl though. Look up Sailor Mercury.
All right. I have a sponsored live stream coming up, folks.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all that you'd like that Undertow.
What is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying. This makes perfect sense to me. I'm not judging. I'm not judging.
Sorry, the inners are for plebeians. Everyone knows Sailor Pluto, best girl.
Ooh.
So
now we're getting into the deep cuts.
All right, Weebs. I got to do some house cleaning here. So I got a sponsored live.
You're not going to go into the last season with the 3 trannies?
No.
Let's not.
Oh, Japan.
All right. So I have a sponsored live stream coming up. I was planning to do that either yesterday or today. But yesterday I was just swamped. I didn't have it in me. And then today Luke wasn't really available. I'm going to try and do it tomorrow, depending on what Luke's schedule is. If not, it's coming very, very soon. Probably within a week at least, but I'm going to try for tomorrow. Also, like I said before, if you enjoy the show, you enjoy the content, there's the Patreon, the PayPal, the Amazon wish list. I got a Coinbase thing coming up here soon. But plenty of ways to support the show. Also, of course, super chats. And so, yeah. And I think that's all we got for this week, folks. I want to thank everybody for listening. Bechtloff out.